Hello, friends. How are y'all? I'll give people a moment to join me. I'm enjoying a nice rainy evening here in Colorado. It's about 10 o'clock, and there's been lots of action happening tonight. I was just chilling out, hanging out, and all of a sudden, boom, some messages came through. Oh, Access Consciousness is raising its prices by 25%. And it was so interesting to just like perceive the ripples that went through the world, and that went through people's worlds and my world, and all the chaos and the change. And hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Hello. And yeah, so I wanted to just kind of, so Gary Douglas he's the founder of Access Consciousness, and I've been around him for a long time, and I've worked with him and worked for Access for a long time, and gotten to see like how he does business, and it's so different than how anybody else does business. It's just so cool. And I'm a Joya business facilitator, so I facilitate this beautiful class called Business Done Different. And one of the things we talk about in that class and in the Joya business is instilling chaos, and instilling chaos into your business is an amazing way to just like really give your business and give everything that you're doing like a big burst, a big infusion of creation. And also kind of like, because it just like shakes people up. It gets people on their toes. It puts people into question. People have to kind of like organize in a different way. And so I would say like announcing, because Gary announced on a call today, okay, everybody, the prices of all Access classes are going up by 25%. And it's like, as of now, basically as of like tomorrow. And it's so cool to watch this man create business, because that was like a massive instilling of chaos, right? Because all kinds of people are going to have all kinds of points of view about it. There are people that are excited about it. There are people that are not excited about it. There are people that are pissed about it. Like it's all the things, right? Like it just depends on your point of view about money and all that stuff, right? And it's like, but when you instill chaos in your business to that degree, you're definitely going to have stuff change, and change is one of the greatest ways to have more creation. Just change stuff up. Look every day at what you can change in your business, not what you can keep the same, not what you can keep predictable, but like, what can you change that would actually increase everything that you're doing? And so when I saw this announcement, I was like, oh, wow, and it was like, basically, the cool thing is sometimes they do it. I've seen him do this before, where he's created a price change with no notice, and it's kind of like, as it's effective as of now, and you don't get to pay the price that you were going to pay when you signed up, And it's a very like controversial way to do business, right? I mean, in this reality, that's not how business is done, right? It's like business isn't done like that. It's you have to like follow some sort of like standard operating procedure for how business is done, but who determines what that is? I don't know. Basically nobody. Just it's like people's judgments determine what that is. So to instill chaos in this way and be like, as of right now, boom, 25% increase. You can pay for the class. You can not pay for the class. You can pay for the class now and get the current price. So if you guys don't, because this has been like on all the channels and there's already been an email that's gone out and everything. But if you don't know, any Access class that you, for those of you guys that consciousness classes, if that you would like to, or maybe you would like to register right now and pay. If you pay in the next, like, I think there isn't a time, but it's like today, basically, you'll get the current rate, and it's going to go up. It's going to go up very soon, and by 25%. And when it does, you'll pay that. Or you can not take the class, and that's one of the coolest things about how Gary functions. Gary Douglas, if you're just joining, I'm talking about the founder of Access Consciousness, is he doesn't do anything according to other people's points of view, according to what people are going to like, what people are not going to like, how they're going to respond, how they're going to react. There's a lot of clearings, a lot of change right now going on in Access around reactive realities and response systems, and how we do this reactive thing with people, and how we keep everything the same, and we continue to play what we're calling the zero-sum game. It's like you stay in this game where nobody moves too far ahead, nobody moves too far, everything stays in this safety zone, right? Of okay, let's just not get too crazy here. Let's keep everything the same, and nobody gets hurt. Nobody wins, nobody loses, nobody gets hurt. That's the zero-sum game. And one of the things I know about Gary Douglas is he doesn't play that game. He doesn't function from that. He functions from, he gets to choose whatever the fuck he wants to choose, whenever the fuck he wants to choose it. And nobody can tell him what to do. And he doesn't care about people's points of view. What he does care about is creating a greater world, creating more consciousness, and having that be something that, really turning it up, constantly turning it up for the creation of a greater world. And the thing is money is just such an interesting thing. People have so many judgments about it, and so many points of view about it. And they're all just that. They're all literally all just points of view. Money isn't anything that we think it is. It's a construct that was made up by people a long time ago. But it's also a construct that we keep alive with our points of view and our agreement with each other and all that stuff. And it's interesting because I was just having this conversation with my team. We were talking about classes and people paying for classes. This was before this was announced, the price increase. And we were talking about it, and I said, what if we never assumed that people can't afford to take classes? Because Access Consciousness classes, compared to a lot of other things in the world, are not cheap. If you compare them to other types of things, other workshops or whatever, they're quite a lot more money. To me, they're super cheap because I've never seen anything work as dynamically as it does, as this does. I've never changed my life. Everything, all of the tools that I use that come from Access Consciousness, whatever area of life it is, they work so dynamically, and they've changed my life so much. I mean, even this year, from just turning up how I use the tools and which tools I'm using and getting more present, from January until now, I've doubled my income this year so far from the last 6 months or the first 6 months of last year. My income has doubled. And I've done that many times. I've doubled my income many times. And in the beginning, I doubled it every year for 7 years or something crazy like that. And then I just am doubling it again. And I'm like, hey, let's do more than double this year. That would be fun. But the way that I've done that, and the way that I am doing that, is by using the tools of Access Consciousness. And I could tell stories of every area of my life where I've created just so much miraculous change from these tools. And so to me, I'm like, no matter what I pay for a class, no matter what a class costs, it's still cheap. I see it as not expensive at all, because it's given me the tools to actually create more money than I ever thought I could, and more all the time. And to know that I can create anything with my business and money. And part of how I do that is by using some of these tools that, when I was talking about instilling chaos, and Gary Douglas, if you're just joining, the founder of Access Consciousness, has increased the prices of all Access Consciousness classes by 25%. So I'm not coming on to make that announcement. That's not my place. That's not my role with the company. There is a beautiful Facebook Live that was done by Megan Hill and Emily Russell. Just kind of really, there's not a whole lot of information really to be disseminated. It's pretty simple, but I can share that as well. But what I did want to come on and talk about is business done different, and money done different. And this is such an amazing example of that. Just going, okay, world, this is what's happening. It's happening now. You might like it, you might not like it, but this is what's happening. And when I look at the energy of it, I'm like, wow, there's such a sense of expansion. And I know, like, I went on the website and I paid for a ton of classes. I was like, okay, let me just pay for everything. And then people are doing that with me too. And it's like, I see this like because there is this like economy of consciousness that it's totally different from the economy of the rest of the world. And I don't that's also not the topic of this Facebook Live. There's other places where you can tap into that conversation. But the cool thing is who says what money is, how it works, what's right, what's wrong. Like it's all a point of view. And when one person is willing to choose something different, it can, and instill chaos in the way that Gary is, it can just like ripple through. It can ripple through the world. And all of a sudden I was like, because I had this little moment of going like, oh my God, okay, I would like to pay for all my classes now, so I don't pay 25% more than I'm scheduled to take in the next few months. And I was like, I had this little moment of like, oh fuck, like, do I even have all of that cash handy? Like, what are we talking about here? What's my, and it was really cool actually, because I had been looking at my bill, for all of my classes coming up. And I was like, that's a lot of money. Like, I'm going to need to, really that's the money I need to create. But the amazing thing was like, I didn't really think much beyond it. And I went and I just paid and I was like, oh, the money was there. Like, it was just totally there. And it was actually really easy to pay. But that's because of these tools. And that's also because I'm willing to function really different with business. Similarly, inspired by how Gary does and Simone Milasas, who wrote the Joy of Business book, and Dane Heer, they've shown me over the years such a different way of doing business. And it's not about doing it the way they do it. It's about doing it the way that I do it. And knowing what that is, knowing what works for me, what's fun for me, what I enjoy, all of that. And so with that, there's just been this, it's been so cool to perceive this huge expansion everywhere, where I was like, wow, if I look from a perspective of this economy of consciousness, right? I'm like, this change, this increase in prices goes it changes everybody's financial reality that's willing to have that. And how courageous for one man. And I know Gary probably doesn't even see it that way, because this is just how he functions. This is how he rolls. This is what he does all the time, to just go, this is changing now. Do it. Let's do it. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't consult people about it. He doesn't, I mean, I'm sure he talked to Dane about it. But it's just he knows what's going to work and he does it. And then it's just he just lets the fallout happen. If there's fallout that's going to happen, he lets it occur. And he's not afraid to deal with that either. And so far it's been actually really cool. People have actually been quite excited about it. It's been really fun to tap into different groups that I'm part of and conversations where people are talking about this. Cause it's people that facilitate access consciousness, they just got a raise, I'm like, I just got a raise. That's cool. Cause there are classes that I facilitate, that I set the prices for. But my core, the big classes that I facilitate, I don't set the prices for. Those are set by Access Consciousness, and there's global pricing. There's all these really cool ways that we play with pricing. There's if you live in a country whose economy is different than in the United States, you're going to pay a different rate. You're going to pay maybe 80%. of what I would pay. And it factors in like currency conversions. It's a very complex pricing structure. But it's so cool. It's so cool. Nobody does it this way. Nobody does it this way. And it's, ooh, what's happening? Oh, my internet got wonky for a minute there. But nobody does it this way. And there is no standard operating procedure. It's just what's going to create the greatest, what's going to be honoring of everybody involved, and let's go, And I started to talk about, I had this chat with my team this week where I was like, what if we never assumed that people can't afford these classes, because there's like, I'm doing a business and different class coming up in, I think it starts in 2 weeks. That's a $2,200 class. It's now going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be 25% more. But you can sign up and pay now, and it won't be 25% more. You'll still pay the current price. So that was part of what I wanted to tell people is anybody taking classes with me or thinking about taking classes with me, you could sign up and pay today and pay the current price. We haven't changed anything on my website yet where you pay because we don't have all the information. And my people that are doing it are sleeping. So I don't know how to do that stuff. So darn. But I was looking at it and I was like, what if we never assume that people can't afford this stuff? Because if you assume that, like, even if somebody has a point of view of like, I can't afford something, it's just a point of view. And that might seem really infuriating to people that are really attached to their money stories, right? But the coolest, like, to me, it's like one of the most empowering ways that you can see somebody is by seeing the brilliance of them, seeing what they're capable of. I mean, if you look at like raising a child, I've done that twice. I've done that every day of my life for the past like 20 years, basically. And anytime I've looked at my kids as victims or like poor them, or they need to be protected, or they're not strong enough or whatever, anytime I've looked at my kids from that point of view, it's been such a diminishment of them. Anytime I've looked at my kids from, you know what, this creature is so brilliant. They know what they're doing. I'm going to give them space to make choices, and I'm going to like hold the space in a way for these kids to actually be like that. They are more capable than even they think they are, and anytime I've treated my children that way, it's been amazing what has shown up for them. And anytime I treat them as like little pathetic things that need to be protected, they get pissed. They've like, that's happened some stuff. I've had to deal with some stuff, some fallout, some parenting fallout, with especially my younger son, from all the times that I kind of treated him like he was pathetic by just thinking I was being a good mom, but that's not being a good mom. It's actually being disempowering, another very different point of view about things. Thank you, Access Consciousness. And so I was like, with my team, I was like, if we just saw everybody, if we like really saw everybody as like, I know you can come up with the money for this. Like for me, I'm like, if there's something I really desire, I come up with the money for it. Like tonight when I was like, we're talking about thousands of dollars here. I'd like to pay now so that I, get the current price. So I'm going to do it, and I just went on my banking and I just like started moving all this money around, and I was like, oh, okay, it's done, but I could have gone in with the point of view of like, oh, I don't have all of that right now. But I didn't. Like I instead chose something different. I chose to see myself in a different light, and I choose to see people in a different light. And that's just like, I'm so grateful for that gift, because it's one of the ways that we can empower each other so dynamically, to actually be the greatness that we be, to create what we are capable of creating. It's such an empowering way of being and living and interacting with other people, to see people as the greatness that they are, as the capacities that they have, like the capability that they have. And if we look at money and creation, it's like, I do not have the point of view that anybody doesn't have money. That and like I don't have the point of view that anybody cannot create the money that they desire to create if they truly desire to create it. And I actually that's my point of view about everything with everybody because I know I know I have tools that allow me to change and create anything and everything. And I've seen not only myself do that, but I've seen everybody that has really um, like been, sometimes it takes some tenacity, but tenaciously, persistently applied the tools of access consciousness and like been willing to get out of their own way, not listen to, tell, or buy their own story, all that stuff. Anybody who has, stuck with it, basically, I've seen people create the most miraculous, incredible things. That's how I see people. I see people with like, you are capable of that. And I see myself as that as well. And I try, I don't really tell myself stories about being limited anymore. And if I do, I get out of it real fast. But I'm so grateful to be able to like approach people that way and to have other people in my life that actually see me in that way and to be like to see what it is to have like this example of this man who runs this multi-million dollar a year business and be like, yep, we're changing it right now. People might not like it, but we're changing it, and how much it's creating already for people. It's so cool. It's so cool. And one of the things that Emily said in the video that Emily and Megan made, which Emily Russell and Megan Hill, who work with Access, they made like the official announcement video about the price increase. That's not what this is. I just wanted to kind of jam about it because I was really inspired by, and I love these, like it's a cool moment to have a conversation and kind of look at some of the dynamics and the choices and stuff. So anyway, but one of the things that Emily said was now I'm forgetting. I don't even remember what I was going to say. What was it? I don't remember. So anyway, but I just am inspired basically. And I wanted to, help spread the news and also like just have a conversation about it. And the space of business done different. That is just so cool. And really where we get to actually have a very different reality. We get to create that for ourselves, with each other, a completely different economy, a completely different reality with money. I know what it was that I was going to say. I was like, I really want to remember that thing. Emily was talking about how like when she uses money, like it's like she sends it out into the world and asks, like it's delightful for her. And she asks it to come back to her, 10, 20, 50, 100 fold. And that's a tool that I love to use. And I don't remember it all the time, but I'm always reminding myself to do more of that, of actually like going, okay, money, like, hey, money, go fly and come back to me a millionfold. Like go create babies and bring them home, money babies, not baby babies. But it's exciting when you see money in that way and you see that money actually, like the consciousness of money has the capacity to do that for you. It's so cool what it creates. It's so cool. And then like we go from, because I used to have this thing show up where I would get kind of grumpy about spending money. And I would be like, oh, fuck, like, like everybody does, right? It's like, oh, that's a minus, that's a minus, that's a minus, that's a minus. I don't look at it anymore as a minus or a plus. It's like, I can use money to create more money. And that's what I do. And that's what I ask for. Now, I also am aware of what choices I make are like what those choices are going to create. So it's not like just spend money willy-nilly, it'll go create more money for you. Because there's certain ways that you can use your money that it will create more money. And then certain ways that that's not going to happen, because you're using money in a way that's a diminishment of your future or a diminishment of you. And it's like, go, be in the question, be curious and be like, is this going to create more money for me? Like if I buy you, will you make me money? That's a wonderful question to ask. And if something that you're paying for, whether it's a class or a tangible thing or whatever, and if you get a yes, you've just given that thing the job of making you money. And it's also agreed to the job of making you money. Now we're just talking about the consciousness of everything, right? And if that's your reality, it's like you use money to create more money, and you are like all over the place, like, hey, will you make me money? Yes, 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 yes. And you use your money in that way. You're constantly creating more money, especially if that's your point of view, because that your point of view creates your reality. And you're stepping into a completely different reality with financial creation and awareness and having and wealth and all these things. Hello, everybody, saying hello. And that's the thing, is like the creation of business and money with the Access Consciousness tools. It's so different because it's not about working more. It's not about working harder. It's not about any of that stuff. It's actually about choosing and creating, like changing it up, instilling chaos like Gary Douglas did by increasing the prices, and choosing things, like choosing different things that come from your awareness, that come from what you know and the possibilities that you would like to see in the world and the way you would like to do business. Somebody's hitting on me right now. I'm good, dude. It's cool. I get a lot of that, so I'm happy. I'm fine. I don't need that. But totally willing to receive it. So thanks. Thanks for increasing my money flows as we speak. So anyway, I digress. But it's like being willing to be different in the world and do different in the world and choose different in the world with your business, like not functioning from the standard operating procedures of how business is done, how now I got a phone number. I love it. That's hilarious. Hey guys, if anybody wants to like WhatsApp this guy, his phone number is down below somewhere. I don't know where, because I'm streaming to like 5 different places. So funny. So anyway, there's all kinds of ways we receive more money, and receiving lust, receiving judgment. Those are some of them, I'm up for any of it. But I'm not going to call you. Yeah. So I get so excited about this stuff because it's like, for me, it's been this real like coming home to me and to what I know about business. And in my earlier days, I was always like, didn't really want to, I didn't think I could do business. I didn't think I could be successful because it didn't make sense to me to do business like anybody else does it, and I was like, I can't see myself doing that. So I guess I'm not going to succeed. But this has been such a different invitation of like, what do you know? How different are you? Are you willing to be that different? Are you willing to shake shit up all the time? Are you willing to instill chaos, to change stuff, to, add, subtract, change on a dime? Raise your prices by 25% without much warning, all that stuff. And as we do, it's like we create different possibilities, different realities, different futures. That's what changes the world. That's what creates a greater reality. That's what creates a greater future. It's also what creates more money and more growth in your business. And it's how, like I said, I've doubled my business this year so far. That's how I've done it, is just by actually relaxing more, having a lot more fun, working a lot less, and acknowledging me, and being willing to receive and be different. And my different is my different, your different is your different. There might be some intersection or inspiration, but your different is your different. And what is that for you? And would you be willing to get curious about that and play with that even more? So business done different. I am doing a business done different class where we dive into all of this stuff. And that is coming up starting July 27th. This time it's going to be done as a program. So it's being done in 10 Zooms over an hour and a half each, over 6 weeks, really different format. I'm excited to do some kind of like downloading and then go explore, apply it to your business, download, go explore, you know? So it's going to be cool. And the price is going up on that. And so if you know you want to do it, sign up and pay, and you can get the current price, because we will raise the prices on my website will go up probably tomorrow night. So in like 24 hours from now. And then also I'm doing on Saturday this a class called Ending the Zero Sum Game with Money, where nobody wins, nobody loses, and nobody gets hurt. And that is like, I'm so excited about this, what's happening right now, because to me, this is very much an example of going beyond the zero sum game with money. Nobody wins, nobody loses, nobody gets hurt. If you're willing to win, if you're willing to lose, if you're willing to quote unquote hurt or get hurt, these are all these things that we avoid. And when we avoid winning, losing, and getting hurt or hurting, and it's way bigger than that. I'm just tossing some things out. But when we don't have that as our primary orientation, we can make choices that are really different, that instill a lot of chaos, that create a lot of growth and expansion for everybody. But that's, you can't be committed to playing that zero sum game with anything if you want to have something really different. You play the zero sum game where you kind of you can make like little incremental changes, but not big ones. And, you know, you can have maybe some incremental monetary gains, you know, but you're willing to be like 25% increase now, you know, and maybe you lose some clients, but the future that I see, including the monetary future for everybody who's willing to receive from this choice, is huge. It's fantastic. And I'm not just talking about the people that are getting paid for the classes. I'm talking about everybody. Because to me, consciousness is the most valuable product on planet Earth. And it's what I continually, it's like my greatest investment. The thing that I invest in that gives me the most return, really, honestly. Far beyond anything else I've ever invested in. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm doing it, Ending the Zero Sum Game with Money. That's a 30-day Facebook Live class. And that's starting on Saturday. That one's $150. I'm not raising the price on that yet. Who knows? Maybe I'll double it. No, I'm not planning on doing that at this point. But I determine the price for that, so I get to choose what I want to do. But I'm really excited for that, especially in light of this. There's so many amazing conversations that are going to happen there. And so y'all are invited. HeatherNichols.com. I think it's /classes or something like that. /BDD for Business Done Different, /zero sum game for the money class. But just go to my website. You'll find it if you want to come and play. There's all kinds of other stuff. I'm doing a foundation class next week. The price is going up for that. I'm doing 3-day body classes. The prices are going up for those. So 3-day body classes, foundation classes, Business Done Different classes, X-Men classes. Those are the classes that I facilitate, for which the prices are increasing. And then my business pods, my generative business pods, is going to go up a little bit too. That starts in August. We don't have anything out for that yet, but that's coming. That's going to be fun. So hope this was a contribution to you. If you could create anything and everything, and you had no point of view, and you could actually use your money to create more money, and invest in the economy of consciousness, invest in you as a dynamic participant and player in the economy of consciousness, what would that be like? What would you, what would you create, and what would your life be like? And what else can you choose that would give you even more of that and even more of you? I will leave you with that. Thank you so much for being here. And please share this around if you got something out of it. Like, comment, do all that stuff, to bump it up in the algorithm. And have a great night, everybody, or day, whatever you are, wherever you are.